Welcome. I'm Christine Manning with the Wine Education Institute. Thank you for joining me on today's advanced tour of German wines. Germany stands at the top of the northern edge of quality viticulture, producing some of the world's most elegant, intensely high-acid wines. However, understanding a German wine label requires deciphering a unique legal hierarchy based heavily on grape ripeness. Today, we are going beyond the basics. We're going to break down the critical challenges of the cool German climate, dissect the core structure of German wine law, including Prädikatswein, and reveal how winemakers craft their final product using techniques like Süssreserve to achieve that highly prized balance. Detailed questions on Germany do appear on a WSET Level 3 short answer exam, so it's a topic you really need to have a firm grasp on. Let's dive in. Germany's major wine regions like Mosel and Rheingau are defined by a cool continental climate, with some regions getting warmer as you travel south. The primary challenge here, due to the northerly latitude, is consistently ensuring adequate grape ripeness. Winemakers must employ careful attention to detail to overcome this. They favor vineyards planted on steep, south-facing slopes to maximize sun exposure and heat absorption. The presence of large rivers, notably the Mosel and the Rhine, is also crucial, as water surfaces provides a heat reflection effect, warming the vineyard sites, aiding ripeness, and lengthening growing seasons. Riesling is the undisputed king of grapes, which is the most widely planted white grape in almost all of our regions. Riesling offers a spectrum of styles, characterized by high acidity and pronounced fruit and floral aromas. If you pick up petrol aromas, you are not crazy and consider yourself lucky if you are taking a blind tasting exam. Young Rieslings are known for fresh fruit characteristics of green apple, citrus fruit, or peach. With age, these wines can evolve beautifully, gaining complex flavors like honey and almonds. While Riesling dominates, Germany boasts other important grapes. Müller-Thurgau is the second most widely planted white grape. It ripens earlier than Riesling and produces light-bodied to medium alcohol wines with green fruit flavors. It's primarily used for mid to lower tier off-dry to medium sweet styles. We also have Pinot Gris and Pinot Blanc, Grauburgunder, Gray from Burgundy, and Weissburgunder, white from Burgundy respectively. We also see Silvaner, both in dry and sweet styles, usually with lower acidity than Riesling. For black grapes, Spätburgunder or Pinot Noir is the most widely planted black grape. This grape thrives particularly well in the warmest and sunniest German region, Baden. German Pinot Noir is often made into lighter, fruitier red wines, frequently using techniques like whole bunch fermentation to enhance this style. Another important black grape is Dornfelder, known for producing deeply colored red wines, but these mostly remain in the domestic market. While there are other black grapes, they don't play an important role in the international market. We will focus on 7 German regions. The Mosel region follows the Mosel River and its tributaries and is characterized by a cool continental climate. The vineyards here are located on steep, south-facing slopes. Rivers and their tributaries play a critical role in aiding in grape ripening in this northerly climate. Managing vines on these slopes is often considered heroic, and machine harvesting cannot be done due to the gradient of the slopes. Mosel is primarily focused on Riesling. Mosel Rieslings are typically the lightest in body among German Rieslings and will have high acid and naturally lower levels of alcohol. Mosel Rieslings are famous for delicate, pronounced aromas of floral and green fruit, which develop complex notes of honey and almonds with bottle age. Riesling is often the only permitted grape variety in named single estate sites, like Enslagen. Villages like Piesport, Bernkastel, and Velen in the Mosel have very well-known international renown. Rheingau is situated on the right bank of the Rhine River, where the river flows east to west and provides a generally favorable south-facing aspect to its vineyards. Renowned villages like Johannesburg and Rudesheim are located here. Rheingau has a slightly warmer climate than Mosel. Rieslings from Rheingau tend to be fuller bodied than those from the Mosel and produces both high quality dry wines and sweet wines all the way up through TBA. This region focuses heavily on recently and importantly, Spätburgunder. Do you remember what that one is? Nahe, between Mosel and Rheinhessen, will also make wine styles that fall in between these two region styles. As expected, Riesling dominates plantings, and the best vineyards are planted on steep south-facing slopes facing the Nahe River. Rheinhessen is Germany's largest wine-growing region in terms of vineyard area. It is located on the west bank of the Rhine River. Rheinhessen produces a wide variety of styles using a broad range of grapes, including large plantings of Müller-Thurgau, Silvaner, and Riesling. Rieslings from Rheinhessen often result in fuller-bodied style compared to those of the Mosel, especially when it's coming from its most famous steep, sloping vineyard near Stein. Pfalz is geographically an extension of Alsace and is the second largest wine-growing region in Germany. Pfalz is protected from cooling westerly influences by an extension of the Vosges Mountains. This grants Pfalz a climate that is notably warmer and drier than regions located further north. We will find a few steep slope vineyards around Forst and Deidesheim that can make some riper, full-bodied Rieslings, still while having that acidic backbone. Like Rheinhessen, Pfalz has a wide variety of grapes, and you guessed it, Riesling remains the most planted grape. But the region also has significant plantings for Müller-Thurgau, Silvaner, Dornfelder, and the different colored white Pinots. Dornfelder is particularly noted for producing deeply colored red wines from here, and these wines will be located near the villages around the French border. Baden is Germany's southernmost wine region and spans approximately 400 kilometers. Makes sense then that this is the warmest and sunniest wine-growing region in Germany. Baden is highly regarded for production of Pinot Noir. Spätburgunder is the third most widely planted variety in Germany overall, and the best red wines in Baden can achieve concentration and ripeness. Baden will also have cultivation of Müller-Thurgau, Grauburgunder, and Weißburgunder. Somewhat of an outlier is Franken and our last region. It is non-contiguous and it is to the east, whereas Silvaner has a greater presence than Riesling. It also has our famous Blockbustel, getting its name from a billy goat's pouch that was shaped for easy transport on horseback. This bottle and name is protected from this region. German wine laws operate under a strict hierarchy of quality categories within the PGI and PDO hierarchy. Base levels are Deutscher Wein, or German wine, and wines with this label would not carry a specific regional PGI indication. Qualitätswein is the mandatory minimum PDO quality level. Wines must come from one of the 13 specified German regions, 7 that we talked about earlier. Importantly, wines that are labeled at this level are permitted chaptalisation. Prädikatswein is the highest legal quality tier. The defining characteristics of Prädikatswein are that chaptalisation is not allowed. Quality is determined solely by the natural ripeness of grapes at harvest and measured as must-wait. Additionally, 6 designations are used within Prädikatswein. These indicate increasing levels of natural sugar concentration in the vineyard when those grapes are harvested. First is Kabinett. Kabinett will be the lightest styles of Prädikatswein, and these grapes will be harvested first. Spätlese translates to late harvest. These are grapes that have been picked later than Kabinett. These wines are typically more concentrated and intense than Kabinett. Auslese, meaning selected harvest grapes, are selected from fully ripe bunches. Wines at this level can occasionally be made into a dry style, but are more often sweet and more intense than Spätlese. They may also include some grapes that are affected by noble rot. Beerenauslese, BA wines, means selected berries. These wines are made from individually selected noble rot affected grapes. BA must reach a higher must weight and is always sweet and intense. Ice wine or Eiswein is made from grapes that have been frozen on the vine. Although not always affected by noble rot, freezing concentrates the must, making these wines sweet. Finally, Trockenbeerenauslese, or TBA, which means dry berry selection. And don't let the translation trip you up. What is dry is the grape and not the final wine style. TBA wines require the highest must weight. TBA is made from individually selected dried grapes, usually affected by a high percentage of noble rot. They are the sweetest and most concentrated wines in the German hierarchy. Let's look at a few more labeling terms. Trocken means a wine that is dry. Halbtrocken indicates an off-dry or sometimes a medium sweet style wine. For our PGI or Qualitätsweins, many, often labeled as Kabinett or Spätlese, that have an off-dry level of sweetness would reach this level using a technique called Süssreserve. Süssreserve is unfermented grape juice from those same high-quality grapes harvested for the wines. By adding this juice to the fully fermented dry wine just before bottling, winemakers can keep pronounced fresh fruit flavor without developing secondary flavors that come from stopping fermentation early. This technique will preserve the pure, delicate fruit expression that German wines are known for. Operating outside the legal Prädikatswein category, we have Verband Deutscher Prädikatsweingüter, or VDP. If a wine is classified by the VDP, it will have an eagle on the bottle. The VDP is an association of leading wine producers in Germany that established its own quality hierarchy to define top vineyard sites, moving beyond the traditional wine laws focusing on must weight and sugar ripeness. VDP producers aim to impose higher production standards and often restrict yields per vine for their top wines, which will emphasize site quality. The VDP system uses the term Grosses Gewächs, meaning great growth, to label dry wines sourced from their officially classified top vineyard sites. VDP vineyards can be Erste Lage, similar to a Premier Cru, or Grosse Lage, or like Grand Cru. These designations highlight the regional dry wine style characteristics of high-quality sites. Wines labeled as Grosses Gewächs or GG focus on emphasizing their quality and dry style. German wine is a study in precision, where the cool climate demands strict adherence to site selection and grape ripeness. Riesling reigns here, yet Pinot varieties, both white and black, play important roles too. Even small moves throughout regions and the country can have large impacts on wine styles, which can be seen in the difference between cool northern Mosel styles to the warmer, drier Baden expressions and the regions in between. Be prepared to differentiate why the style here may differ and how in acid and sweetness levels on an exam. When you look at a German label, remember that the Prädikatswein level tells you all you need to know of the natural ripeness levels of grapes at harvest time, and that same vineyard can provide different levels depending on when those grapes were picked. Trocken means dry. Trockenbeerenauslese means dried up late harvest fruit. Make sure you know all of our German labeling terms. VDPs will sit outside of our ripeness classification and refer to the best sites as chosen by respected producers. The complex but transparent labeling system allows you to trace the quality and style directly back to the challenging, rewarding, and delicious cool wines of Germany. Thank you for joining me. Cheers!